Welcome to our Lotus's YouTube channel. Today what we're going to do is we're going to concentrate on learning how to create these beautiful, timeless pearl necklaces. We're going to do this step by step, and this right here is a tutorial that's for beginners or intermediate, because we learned some tricks of the trade as far as working with wire and creating these unique shapes. So come along with me and we'll go ahead and we'll get started. I'd like to talk to you about the supplies that we're going to need. Here I've written it out for you so you can see that. It's just, from here up are the supplies, and I'll point those out to you next. The first thing that we're going to need is we're going to need our wire. We need 9 inches of 18 gauge wire. We need 16 inches of 26 gauge wire, and both of these are round and they're dead soft. The other thing I'm going to need is a 1/4 inch dowel. It's a small one, and I'm also going to need a dowel that's 3/4 of an inch. And this one, what I've done is I've created a little slot that's just big enough to put that 18 gauge wire in. What I've done is I've taken the liberty of doing that in an acrylic tubing so that you can really see the maneuver as I'm making that in this tutorial. Now, the way that I did that is I just use a jeweler saw. So if you don't have a jeweler saw and you know somebody that has a band saw or that has a radial arm saw, they can just kind of make those little slots in there for you. The other thing that we're going to need is we're going to need our pearl. I have a couple of pearls here you can take a look at. Here's a pink one. Here's kind of a cream looking one. They don't have to be perfectly round, but they should be around 4 to 6 millimeters. So that's something to keep in mind. You don't want anything too oval, and you don't want anything flat on one side. They do need to be fairly round, but not perfectly round. The other thing that we're going to need is we're going to need our tools. The tools we're going to need are 2 chain nose pliers. I just got these the other day. I won a contest, so I have not even used these, and I'm really looking forward to using these. These are wubbers, and here's a regular size wubber, which is just, it's a power horse as far as working with wire. And then these are called baby wubbers, so you can see like the different size that they're in. And you're going to need a round nose plier, and you're going to need a flush cutter. Also a ruler. We need to make sure that we have a couple of jump rings. These jump rings, the internal dimension of these, I believe, are about 4 millimeters. Okay, so now that we have that, what I want to do is I want to cover the wrapping sequence. What I've done is, let's just take a look at this really quickly again. What I have done is I have enlarged this so that you can see exactly what we're doing. What we're going to be doing is we're going to be bringing the pearl in here, and we're going to be wrapping it once around that inside circle. Then what we're going to do is wrap it twice around the inside circle and the long wire that we have. Now this is all 18 gauge. This is 18 gauge. This is 18 gauge, and we're wrapping it here with the 26 gauge. So when I'm talking about the wrapping, I'm talking about this really fine wrapping that we have here in 26 gauge. So we have the one around the circle, and then the wire length, and then we have 20 here with the 26 gauge, and then we have a wrap of 2 on the outside wire and then the inside circle. And then we're going to coil 5 over here to the inside of the circle, and then we're going to coil 5 to the outside of the circle. And then what we're going to do is we're going to create a loop. Then what we're going to do is we're going to take our jump rings and we're going to put that on there, and we're going to put that on our necklace. So this right here, if you want to screenshot that, you can, and that way it might help you while you're creating this. And you can also screenshot this right here. Let's fold this over. This right here is your supplies. And this right here is a written sequence of the wraps that we have. So if you want to just write down the written sequence, you can write that down or screenshot that too. So now that we have the preliminary information done, let's go ahead and let's create the necklace. Let's start off by making our large ring. We've got 9 inches of 18 gauge wire here. We're going to go at the halfway point, which is at 4.5 inches here. I'm going to just kind of hold that there with my finger, and I'm going to create a loop. This loop needs to be fairly sizable here. And we're going to create that loop so that it will have a wire going left and a wire going right, and pretty much on the same plane. You want that to be fairly straight. I'm going to go ahead and zoom up on that so you can see what I'm talking about here. Okay, now what we're going to do is we're going to bring our pliers in and just kind of flatten that a little bit on top. All right, now that we have that, what we're going to do is we're going to create the large loop. Let me show you where we're at. Right here, this is what we've just created, is this right here. Okay, so that's where we're at. We're going to bring our slotted dowel and we're going to place that loop in here. And there is the reason why we need that slot, is while we're creating that loop, we have to have a place for the smaller loop to go into. So here we are, right there. You can kind of see how that is at all angle. Okay, so what we're going to do next is we're going to bring our wire up and over and around. And if you take a look in there, you can see that my wire is crossing at the point where the loop is at the bottom. You want to create your top loops so they're centered on the bottom loop. So what I've done is just kind of allowed those to cross over like that. Now we're going to bring in our 1/4 inch dowel, and we're going to, here's where you really could use a third hand, but we're going to manage as best as we can here. Alternately, you can use some low-tack tape to secure the dowel. We're going to bring that dowel rod in there so that it is directly across from the loop that's on the inside. Maybe if I just kind of hold it like this, still going to shift on me. We'll do the best that we can here, okay? We're going to bring then one side of the wire up and around, and then we're going to bring the next wire in the opposite direction. Make sure I have a hold of that. Bring this in the opposite direction. So what we've done essentially is we've created a loop for that pearl to go into. Let's take a look to see how close we are to having that be right on top. I think we're pretty close. Let's go ahead and take this off. The truth is when we actually take it directly off of the dowel to see where those loops are. Now, in order to get this off of here, it won't pull off now because we have that loop down in that slot. So what we have to do is take this and just open it up gently, and then we're going to twist our dowel and we're going to slide it out. There we go. Now we're going to take a look at this and we're going to just reform with just using our hands. We're just reforming and making sure we have that loop up top and that it is directly across, and this one is directly across. I'm happy with that. So the next thing that we're going to do is let's go ahead and put that dowel back in and just kind of finesse our wires down a little bit more. We're just kind of shaping that a little bit because we're going to need that in order to create the shape that we need for our necklace. So the next thing we're going to do is we're going to take our pearl and we're going to put it at the halfway point of the 26 gauge wire. Again, this 26 gauge wire is 16 inches long. I'm going to place that in there, and the way that I do that is I just line up my wire tips and I just kind of tug on my pearl a little bit, and now I know I'm at the halfway point. Now we can go ahead and we can begin weaving. We're going to start off by bringing our pearl into that circle, and we're going to expand it a little bit so the pearl seats down into that. The wire on both sides is coming out at, if I were looking at a clock, at 3 o'clock and 9 o'clock. And then we're going to take that wire and we're just going to, just around the single circle here, we're going to create one coil. As we coil, we're going to be coming towards our body. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to bring that wire and up through the back and next to the pearl, creating one coil. And while I'm doing that, I need to hold on to the pearl here. And I'm going to show you here what that coil looks like. Okay, so we have one coil there. And we're going to do the same on the opposite side. We're going to create one coil. And if it looks like your pearl is just a little bit too tight, you're going to want to lift it up just a little bit so you can get that wire in there. Okay, and you want your wire ends to come up. So they're both up. So what I have done is I've created that one coil on either side, just on the one loop. Okay, now what we want to do is we want to create a wrap. And this wrap, let me show you what we're going to do, is going to come around here, here, and here on both sides. We're wrapping both. Let's take a look at the diagram again. We're going to be wrapping here on each side. Okay. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to bring down that wire just a little bit more. I'm just finessing that down a little more. Okay, we're going to bring our wire end again into that circle. The more wraps we put in, the more difficult it's probably going to be, because the tighter it's becoming. Now what we're doing is we're wrapping these two together. Okay, there's one wrap, and then we're going to do a second wrap. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to show you how to wrap this on one side. I'm going to go off screen and then I'm going to wrap the other side because they are identical. There's no need to waste your time and show you both when they're both the same. But I will show you the finished piece. Okay, so now that I've wrapped that, what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to wrap around 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. That's 5 coils, and I'm going to pinch it in. I'm going to wrap around 5 more. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. There's 10. I'm going to do a total of 20. Okay, there we have it. We have 20. Now we're going to bring our wire in to the large circle, and we're going to wrap twice. 1 and 2. I've got 2 wraps there. Just want to show you again on that diagram where we're at. We've wrapped 2 here. Now we're going to coil 5 on the inside. So to do that, we're going to bring our wire in to the circle, bring it to the other side, and we're going to coil 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. And here's where it gets a little bit tricky. I don't want to wrap this here, so I'm going to bring it behind. And that I'm going to do 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 more coils. I'm going to pinch it down. And this is what we have so far. This is where we're at. Now what I'm going to do is go ahead and cut that wire, and I'm going to go over to the other side and I'm going to do the other side. All of our wraps are now completed. The left and the right are done on the same side. One thing I do want to mention is that I did not do 2 wraps here on this area here. Instead, I did 3 wraps, and that's okay. Just as long as you do the same amount of wraps on either side. So this one has 3 and this one has 3. And that's why I had to do 3 on that side, is because I did 3 on the opposite side. So just whatever wraps, however many wraps you put on one side, you have to do it on the other. This one here, same thing. I've done 2, but you could have added 3 to this right here. So what we're going to do next is we're going to create that loop on either side, which is what which is where we're at here, right here, and here on the actual piece. You can see how we've created that loop. Okay, so let's go ahead and measure so that we can create an even loop on both sides. And what I do is I take a measurement from the top part of that coil, that last coil we did, and I measure out 1 centimeter. So I'm coming in with the flush side or the flat side of my wire cutters here, and I'm going to put it right at that 1 centimeter mark, and I'm going to go ahead and cut. I'm going to do the same on the other side. Let's go ahead and cut 1 centimeter on that side as well. We are almost done here. Okay, now what we're going to do is we're going to bring in our pliers. Now we don't want to choke up all the way so that our circle on either side is going to be too big. We want those to be fairly small. And again, this is an aesthetic decision. You can go as small or as large as you want. What I like to do is mark my pliers like I've done here. I hold it there. I feel to make sure that there's no wire sticking out, because if there is, it's going to make a little fish hook. I don't want that to happen. I felt it there. I don't feel it now. I'm going to grasp on here tightly. I'm going to support this area here. I'm going to pull out a little bit so you can see this. I'm going to let my wrist make the movement, okay? Not the piece. My wrist is going to make the movement. So I'm going to hold on here very tightly, and I'm going to just bring in, and my wrist can't go any further, so I'm going to have to open up my pliers and readjust and create the rest of that loop. So that's what I have there on that side. Let's go ahead and do the other side. Let's zoom out a little bit more so you can really see what I'm doing here. Okay, so I'm lining up where that mark is so the loops will be the same. I'm going to feel to make sure that it's not sticking out. I'm going to support, and I'm going to let my wrist move, adjust, keeping it on the mark. I'm going to let my wrist move again. Usually a couple times is all it takes. Now, with any wire weaving project, what I recommend doing is taking a look at everything, seeing what you can finesse, seeing what you need to change. You might need to just fuss with your circle a little bit. This right here, there's a gap in that loop. I'm going to be bringing my pliers back in, and I'm just going to be closing that gap there. And I'm just going to be looking at things to see if there's anything I can change. And I would have to say that I'm pretty happy with it. Let's add the jump ring to the inside circle. What we're going to do is we're going to bring our 2 flat nose pliers on either side of the jump ring. And we're going to open it up, one towards and the other away, so that it looks like that. We don't open up left to right because that would distort the circle. Then we can bring in that end and hook it onto our inside circle. I'm going to hold on here to close it, same way I opened it. Let's do that again. I'll zoom up on that so you can see a little bit more. Here my jump ring is already open. I'm going to place it here on the inside of that circle. I'm going to grasp it with 1 chain nose pliers, and I'm going to have there's a pretty good grasp there. And I'm going to grasp it with the other side. I'm going to hold on here, and I'm going to close it. Sometimes the ends do butt up against each other, and they're difficult to close. So what you're going to do in that case is you're going to, again, hold on, and you're going to just finesse it until you get it to that point. These jump rings are work hardened, and they're very, very strong. And I really like to have strong jump rings. Okay, there we have it. So now we have both of our jump rings on. Now what we're going to do is we're going to thread our cord through this right here. And let's zoom out a little bit so you can see here. Let's move these. Voila. We have our lovely pearl necklace, our real, genuine pearl necklace. That's it. Thank you so much for joining me here. I hope that you will comment, you'll give this a try. And if you do, please let me know in the comment section what your experience was, and follow me on Instagram at Wired Lotus, and just send a picture, show me a picture, tag me so that I can see what you're creating here with these beautiful necklaces here. Thank you so much for joining me. It's been great having you.